Hey guys, welcome to another episode of On Mission. We're so excited you joined us today. We got a very special guest, don't we? Briana Nettleton of Footprints of Fight. We know her very well, don't we?
We do. Footprints of Fight was the first foundation to actually help us in our daughter's
Cancer
journey. So we are forever thankful for them and grateful for them.
And we hope you enjoy our interview with Briana Nettleton. So let's jump in. Let's welcome Briana, and we'll share her story. It's an incredible one. So welcome to the podcast, Briana.
Am I supposed to be crying in the intro? Because I'm already choked up, so that's not a good sign.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
So first, I guess let's just share our connection with Briana, if you don't mind.
Yeah. You guys were the first foundation to help us.
So for our viewers out there that don't know,
See, now I'm going to get choked up.
I know, see, that's my problem.
our daughter, Hunter Rose, was diagnosed and treated for stage 4 neuroblastoma. It's been a while, hasn't it? I mean, she was diagnosed 2017, and she finished her
frontline treatment.
Yeah, in January of 2019. And yeah, like Kara was saying, Briana and Footprints of Fight was the first organization that helped us, right?
Yeah. You guys provided us groceries and gas cards and love.
Support, yeah,
Yes.
love, friendship, which is huge. Oh my gosh. And there's just so many things on the list that they helped out with that.
I remember the first time I used the card, the lady, the checker gave me back. She goes, "Whoa, you have that much on your gift card left." So that's
So we and Briana go way back. You know, the cancer community is pretty tight. So even though we may not see her, all that often, when we do, it's like no time has passed.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like we've known her our whole lives.
I know you blessed our family for Christmas. I mean,
Over and over and over again, every month.
Reader and
Right?
Xbox. I mean,
So we love you so much, and thank you for joining us today.
Well, I'm so honored to be here. First of all, I've followed your guys' journey and been humbled and inspired because the way you guys handled everything. I think your viewers and everyone knows that you guys handle it with such grace and such faith that I think you inspired so many of us, and the ones that were helping, it was constantly encouraging to see how you guys were approaching Hunter's journey. And I feel like I've been your biggest cheerleader watching through the internet, and I feel so thankful to be part of your guys' lives and part of your journey. So yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. Well, I guess let's start off with telling a little bit about your story.
Yeah.
Before we jump into Footprints of Fight, you also have a very personal connection with cancer. And if you don't mind, just sharing a little bit about Mason.
Yeah, and real quickly, in August 2015, I have 3 children now, but at the time I had 2 kids. I have had an older daughter and a younger son named Mason, who was 4.5 at the time, and really active kids and very healthy. So we thought, we had just been on vacation in Lake Chelan with family. We came back, and my son hollered from the other room, "Mom, you've got to see this." And I was like, "Oh, do I really walk in there? What am I about to see with my 4.5-year-old son?" Thinking it was not what I was about to see. And to my surprise, it was a toilet full of blood. And I actually wasn't alarmed, surprisingly. And I called his pediatrician because my sister-in-law was like, "You probably should call. That's not really that normal."
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. My son just got his computer from school, and I found out he was just turning it on.
That'll do it.
Why do I keep getting booted off? I hope I was going to try to hotspot on my phone. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay.
So we had gone to the urgent care, and then the next morning we followed up with blood work, and he was still doing well. And they're like, "Okay, meet with your pediatrician at around noon for an appointment to go up with the blood work results." This is on a Friday. And while we're waiting for the blood work results, Mason started complaining of some pain, and then he started puking up blood. And so we were like, okay, this just went from 0 to 3,000. I'm like, Jake was working upstairs, and I remember pounding on the wall, screaming, we gotta go now. So we went to the emergency room right in our little town. And by 2 o'clock that afternoon, they found the mass in his kidney, and they said, "Where do you want to go? Would you like to go north or south? Because we're kind of central." and we went north to Seattle Children's Hospital. And by Friday night, we were checked into the cancer unit. And Monday morning, he had his kidney removed, and Friday, he started chemotherapy. So it was kind of a whirlwind for us. Though I feel so lucky when I look back, because I see so many families that have waited so long for a diagnosis and knew something was wrong for a really long time. So just by the simple fact that it was like boom, 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 and even then it felt like forever, I just feel so thankful that that was how it went down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It does go quick.
It does, but it feels so slow at the same time. It's a crazy situation. You're like, okay, from Thursday to Monday, I remember or Friday night from when we checked into Seattle Children's to Monday morning when he had his surgery, I remember that feeling like an eternity, like just feeling like forever.
Were you inpatient a lot, or were you?
We were not inpatient a lot. We were only inpatient that first chunk. He kind of just, I don't know, he really rocked chemo. He had the NG tube, and we kind of, Jake and I made an agreement early on that we would try to like not let it, totally derail our lives. I remember there's a crazy story where I was doing the breast cancer 3-day in September, and I was like, should I still do that? I had done it for 10 years, and which is another really crazy part of my cancer story. But I had done the breast cancer 3-day for so long, and I was like, okay, should I still do it? He was diagnosed in August. It was in September. And Jake's like, yeah, if there's any time you should do it, it's now. We're not going to, stay the course. Let's stay with what we were doing with our life, kind of try to, not make things rock the boat too much. And he ended up, of course, you spend the night, the 3 days, overnight, and he ended up with 102-degree fever on that Friday night, of course, the first one. So Jake called me. I had a friend come pick me up we were camping at Marymore Park, pick me up and drive me to Seattle Children's, where, they did the ER visit for fever, everything checked out fine. And they were like, okay, you can go on with your weekend as usual. And Jake said, okay, he has a soccer game tomorrow. And she goes, if he feels up to it, play in the soccer game. And he played in the soccer game the next morning, had chemo a couple days earlier. And one of my favorite pictures is him playing soccer with the tube in his nose, a bald head. He kind of was just pushed through it. And it was, we were really in a lucky situation because he wasn't in as many crazy drugs as some of these other kids get. So, he'd have a couple of rough days during the week, but then the weekend he'd rock his soccer game. Maybe he'd play 1 quarter, 2 quarters, but he would still play and, inspire people in the process.
That's amazing that he was able to play in the soccer game.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. These kids are just so
resilient
and just
seriously, they just have so much hope wrapped in them. It's like, okay, how can you not look at them and feel hope is what I kind of see. I'm like,
yeah, and the joy, and you're like, you just spent all night throwing up, and then you want to get up and make something. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what?
Exactly. You're like, okay, I really can't feel bad for myself that my back hurts.
And so how did the diagnosis and treatment affect your whole family unit?
Well, I had an older daughter, so and I know you had, Ryder, that same situation where you feel everyone obviously pours into your kid, the one that's sick. And so I think we consciously were like, okay, we have to do this together. Jake and I are both ex-college athletes, and so we kind of approached everything with Mason's treatment as the way we'd approach a basketball game. Like, you can't do it with one person can't be focused on one person. You kind of have to do it as a family. And that was kind of where Fight as a Family came about. We were like, okay, that's kind of how next play, you can have a turnover, you can miss a shot, but what you got to focus on is the next play. And so we did that with our whole family. We're like, we can't do this alone. We need Bailey, we need Mason, we need mom and dad, and obviously we need a huge community around us. And so we really approached it the way we approached our athletic careers and sports. And that's kind of, as a team. And we knew that, if Bailey was struggling, that wouldn't be conducive to Mason fighting. Because if she's bitter and she's angry, obviously those feelings are going to arise no matter how you look at it. But if you can kind of do it as a family, and that's kind of, what the whole mission of Footprints Fight is we can try to provide services to allow the stress to be released so you guys can focus on your kid as a family. And it's not, all attention to Mason. It's kind of like, I don't have to clean my house. so I can focus on both my kids, not just the sick one, which obviously that happens most of the time.
That's a great way to look at it. Like we always say, you know, it's a family diagnosis, which
Oh, absolutely.
you're saying, you know, it's a team unit.
Mm-hmm. And our faith played a huge role. I mean, and I know for you as well. That's another part of our team component. So
when you guys were going through treatment, did you guys receive any help, and what was your inspiration for Prince of Fight?
Yeah, I love that question because this is a really cool story too. So when Mason was sick, that cancer page wasn't around. The Cancer Families in Washington page. It was just started right after Mason was well. So we didn't receive any help from any organizations. Actually, we didn't have a social worker, to be quite honest. It was a kind of a transitional time. So, but we had, like my best friend from growing up came from a great family, and we went to school together from kindergarten all the way through high school. And she unfortunately passed away when Mason was probably 6 or 7 months old. Just an unfortunate thing. And her family found out Mason was sick, and they called me and they said, hey, we want to help out. Here's the thing. We can either take Bailey shopping, school shopping, back to school shopping, or we'll send you our house cleaner for the month. And I was like, I'm not really quite ready to give up shopping with my baby girl for her first grade year. I go, but you know what? I would love, that'd be awesome if you sent me your house cleaner. And it was kind of in that moment where I realized people really want to help. Like, we're not always so good at accepting help, but people really want to help. And they sent me their house cleaner, and they ended up sending me their house cleaner the entire time of treatment. And I remember coming home on those days and being like, oh my goodness, like, I hate cleaning when I have a healthy child. I really hated cleaning when I had a sick kid. And that was such a huge blessing that they sent us that. And I remember calling Jake, because we had talked about early on in our marriage before Mason ever got sick, about wanting to start a nonprofit of some sort. And I go, here's what's going to happen. I go, every family needs this. I go, this just takes out such a huge load. I literally, first of all, I hate cleaning my house in general, but I really hated cleaning it during this time because it was just one extra thing for me to do that I just couldn't sometimes grasp the energy to do. And I was like, everyone who has a sick kid needs this, deserves this. This is something that needs to happen. So I called Jake. I was like, here, I go, we've got it. This is what we need to provide to families. This is not something that I've seen for any families. We need to provide, house cleaning. So that's kind of where the original idea happened. Jake, luckily, God's timing, happened to be, are you there still?
Yeah, we're here.
Oh no, we lost her.
She froze.
Oh.
We're here.
Yeah, she okay, there we go.
I'm down in the router room, so I kicked Jake out of his office.
Sorry, Jake.
He said sorry.
Sorry, man. Hey, I got a question for him real quick. I saw footage of him dunking maybe like last week.
He did last week.
Was that on a 10-foot?
It was.
A new hero.
Yep. Uh-oh, I know. I'm like, still.
A new hero. I saw that. I was like, nah, there's no way that could be on a 10-foot.
My goodness.
Did you see it?
Mm-mm.
It was a nice dunk, too.
Okay, now I shouldn't have any problems. I've never gotten booted off down here.
Oh, wait, you switched.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Switched rooms.
That's all right.
I'm sorry. I know. I can't.
Now we got to start the whole thing. No, I'm joking.
Oh gosh. I'm like, okay, no, we'll just be like internet issues, quarantine 2020.
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay.
Where do we leave off? Did I hit record on all this stuff?
Jake situation.
That's
Okay.
Okay.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, perfect.
Okay.
Where were we?
Jake's schooling.
Yes, yeah.
That's right. And then I saw you freeze, and I'm like, no. Okay. So luckily for us, and not lucky, but because it was totally God's timing, Jake was going to SPU getting his master's in business, and he approached his professors for the last couple of semesters of his master's and was like, hey, this is what we're looking to do as a family. Can we do some independent studies style classes and build our business plan and do all the research to build an organization? And they were super on board and really supportive. And, Jake wrote an 80-page paper. I say we because I feel like I deserve half the credit because he made me read the books too. And we polled, hundreds of parents through the Momcology pages and through our cancer page, and talked to Never Give Up and Family Reach, and interviewed Ron McDonald, and talked to oncologists at Seattle Children's and social workers, and made sure we did all of our due diligence to make sure we really weren't duplicating something that was already out there. And so I remember being really nervous talking to Dr. Abby Rosenberg, thinking, oh gosh, she's going to be like, you need to focus all your efforts on research. But she was actually quite the opposite. She was like, no, this is research. What you're doing is curing a family and curing a different type of disease. And that's just as important. Granted, a cure to cancer is going to be amazing. And when that comes, it's going to be awesome. We won't have to do our work anymore. But also, if a family comes out of this and is fragmented, and mom and dad hate each other, and the kids resent each other, that can be just as bad sometimes. So I felt really encouraged when we left that meeting that they were, on board with us about what we were looking to do.
Wow.
I mean, we're lucky to be with Seattle Children.
Absolutely.
We go to them about anything. They are so on our side.
Yeah, no, they're really awesome. Yep. And we serve all 3 hospitals in Washington. So.
Wow, I knew that.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't find out through a social worker about you. We found out through the Williams. They told us to find you.
Dennis and Kelly, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
I mean, we were walking back to inpatient, and I was just grilling her like, what do I need? What? And she's like, you need to contact for Principi.
Well, yeah, no, that's the best. And when other families talk about it, that's the hugest compliment, because yeah, we want to help. We're here, we want to help. And that's kind of just what we want to do. So.
And what do you guys do?
Yeah, what services do you guys provide?
Well, so we've actually added quite a few services since we served you guys. So, we offer each family 3 to 4 services, and they get to kind of choose. We offer professional house cleaning every other week. We adding landscaping, because that's another thing. I think if you have a house, to include, dad and mom don't want to be out taking care of their yard. Gas cards, grocery, AAA membership. We had just added a family date night, which was paying monthly for dinner and a movie. But obviously, since right now we're in quarantine, we've switched gears and kind of pivoted a little bit, and now offering a dinner delivery service, like through Uber Eats, or I forget which one. And then babysitting. So like through care.com, I think it's care.com we use, but it's kind of the same idea of like, mom and dad might need to reconnect, or mom and, older sibling, or mom and cancer kid, or dad, one of the two. Just all of our things are trying to encourage the family to kind of like stay together. So like whether it's, not mom having to not cook, or not having, granted, meal trains are amazing, but every once in a while you just want a pizza from your favorite place. Like, it's okay to want to go out and eat, or go to a movie, or do something that you don't necessarily want to spend your own money on at this time. So yeah.
God bless you guys, man. So is there anything you guys are doing right now during the Corona 2020 to help, you guys stay on mission? How are you guys still helping families?
So luckily or unluckily, for us, all the services we provide are essential. So we're still able to be serving these families. It's been crazy, because since January till March, January to March, we had already brought on 35 new families, which is crazy considering that it's not a one-time thing. Our goal is to serve these families the longevity of their child's treatment. So we've already, we've committed to quite a few. We haven't pulled back on any of our services. We haven't pulled back on accepting any families. Obviously, things are changing as far as one of our biggest fundraisers had to be canceled with the mountain climb. So we're looking to, again, have to try to figure out a different way to make up for our planning of that, because of, when we had our budget meeting, we obviously plan to have quite a bit of money coming from that, and that's where the money's serving our families. So our goal is to not stop serving any families, or not pull back. Cancer's not going anywhere, neither are we, is kind of what we're thinking right now. So we're going to have to start to get a little more creative on our fundraising. I think the biggest change we've made to try to help families during this time that's a little different is by implementing the food delivery service instead of the family date night. But landscapers are still able to go to some of these houses, as long as the family's comfortable having someone in the backyard. I know I just had a family contact me and say, it was so nice to come home and have our yard look nice, especially when it's been so sunny out. It's like having a messy closet when it makes you feel dirty. So That's still been able to, the gas cards. We've actually been able to team up with a couple other, in the past, we've been able to gift with Service King and Recycled Rides. We've been able to gift 3 vehicles, and we just were able to, there's a family getting one at the beginning of May. We were going to have a ceremony, but so that's the 4th one. So just kind of, we haven't been able to do really anything extra because we're still able to do everything that we were already doing. So our team is still working to bring on new families and to do that. So we feel lucky to be able to still be serving these families. Wish we didn't have to serve them, but the unfortunate reality is we do.
So you just brought on another, what'd you say, 35 families?
I've since January to March. So since we've been around, which is like, we've been serving families since January 2016, we've served over 320 families. Yeah.
And right now you currently have 35?
Oh, well, we have more than 35. We brought on 35 new ones since January. So it's kind of hard because everyone's different staggered on their care and extend, just different things. And we're really lucky to have so many amazing volunteers because no one gets paid in our organization. So everyone's doing it because they want to serve these families, and we have the most amazing team of people. It's not me. It's like, I just have so many amazing people around me that make Footprints work. It's totally such a huge blessing, and we're really thankful for the community that makes this possible.
And are the majority of your volunteers, do they also have a personal connection with cancer?
The double-edged sword thing, I think the biggest testament to us is some of the families that we have been able to serve during their treatment have come on to work with us and volunteer. Kelly Williams, Melissa Falk has a son who, Olivia Gonzalez worked with us for a while, Cheryl Ligenfeld. I mean, there's so many that their connection is so direct that to us, that's just the hugest testament. I mean, John and Cheryl were on our climbing team, and Kelly's sister was on our climbing team. So when you see these families and these people who are related to them spending their time to fundraise, the Judd family, they've done so much. There's just so much.
The ripple effect.
The ripple effect. It's like, you just never know. And I look back, and that's kind of what I think is the coolest part. I look back and I see that family that sent us their house cleaner. Because of what that drop in the bucket to them, they might not even realize, but now that has multiplied exponentially to other families and has just been, so you just never know what you're blessing to somebody else, what kind of effect it's going to have. I mean, that I think is when you look at our kids and you're like, you know what, that Hunter Rose is hope. Mason is hope, because look at what they were able to do with what was meant to destroy them has now turned into such a beautiful thing to help so many other people.
Okay, so earlier you mentioned a little bit about the fundraising event that was canceled or had to be rescheduled. You guys, I want to talk a little bit about that one. You guys do a lot of cool events.
Yeah, we're a little different. We do a Mount Rainier climb, which if anyone in Washington gets to stare at Mount Rainier and its beauty, and you look at it and you're like, okay, God exists, because it's just that amazing. And so they did a Mount Rainier climb the first year. Well, let's do a climb. Everyone pays their own way. Every person who comes out to climb commits to fundraising. This year it was $3,000. So not only are these people paying a decent amount of money to climb, investing their time in training, but they are also fundraising and involving their family in this climb. And the first year, we had 22 climbers from around the country. We had 6 in Louisiana. We had 2 from Florida, 1 from Minnesota, and then we had a bunch from here. And we're like, what a beautiful thing to do this. And it just had such a huge impact, not only the journey of the mountain climb, the camaraderie, the people who got to meet, but just the impact that they were making as they were climbing, and just kind of, it wasn't about reaching the summit. It was what they were able to accomplish on their way to the summit. Some of them made the summit, but some of them didn't. And some of the ones who didn't make the summit came back the next year, which is beautiful. They fundraised again, they paid again. Again, these families were paying from Louisiana for their airfare, for hotels, for rental cars, all to make an impact on our community of childhood cancer. And this year we're about to have our biggest climb, which is just heartbreaking. We had, I want to say we had, actually, I don't want to know the exact number. We had the most climbers. We still have our Mirror for a Mission climb going, because RMI is who we go through for the summit. But last year we added a Mirror for a Mission climb to kind of get people involved on a smaller scale. Say if you might think it looks awesome to climb Mount Rainier, but you've never been up there, or you're, like me, who I like a good challenge, but I really don't need to climb the top of a mountain to prove myself that I'm awesome. But so we did this Mirror for a Mission, and that was on a smaller scale. And it's, everyone was fundraising $1,500, and then we were going to do the climb. That's still on as of right now, but the mission, the Climb for a Cause, RMI and Mount Rainier has canceled the June climb. So it's a big hit for us, because it's a big event and it really makes a huge impact. And it's a big bummer.
So how can people watching this help, fill that void of that event being canceled?
Well, they can join become a fan of our Facebook page, or we have an app, Instagram, we're pretty active. We're going to try to get creative with some other ways to offer people an experience, or staying tuned for another opportunity to join one of our climbs, or if they want to just donate, that is always awesome. Just staying connected. I think that in this time, it's, we had a board meeting recently and people were like, you can look at it two ways. I think that this coronavirus, yes, we're missing out on a huge opportunity to do this climb because of social distancing. But at the same time, we're kind of seeing a whole new level of empathy around the world that we don't normally see. Everyone's connected in a way that we're not normally connected. Everyone feels for their neighbor. To me, the cancer world's experienced this feeling of isolation for as long as cancer's been around, locking yourself in your house with hand sanitizer when you walk in the door, not going near people, wearing masks. If you hear someone have a wet cough, as a mom, I still, I still freak out. I'm like, okay, someone take that child out of here. So I think that there's a whole new level of empathy, and people are realizing, what, if I feel this way right now, can you imagine if I had this way and I had a sick child at home? If I had a kid going through cancer, I look at Danica. If I had, if a mom had to go to the hospital and the dad couldn't go and siblings can't go. I mean, I feel like, yes, this is a horrible time for our economy, a horrible time for people, but it's a great time to look at yourself and see how you can make a difference around you. I just feel like there's such a new level of empathy going around, and connection, and, finding new ways to connect and help people. And we can only hope that people will look and want to help these families that we're able to help. So that's kind of the hope we see in it, is that maybe, someone at home who's not struggling financially, who hasn't been hit by this, that they can make an impact for families who really need it.
What about the golf tournament? Are you guys still moving forward with that, or?
As of now, yes. We're waiting for the big May 4th announcement to see how things, that's also our other huge event. So that's kind of like, oh gosh, please, because if both those events cancel, we're going to get really creative. That's a huge event. That event raises well over $100,000 each year. So yeah, we're staying tuned. So as of right now, still totally on. We're going to probably, after May 4th, hopefully start getting some sponsorship opportunities out there, which we know will look different, because some of our sponsors who have been supportive in the past, they may have been affected by, this stop and the closure of the state. So we know it's going to be harder work on our end to try to connect with those people who aren't. We've had a couple people who, it's been awesome, contact us and be like, what, I got a stimulus check and I don't really need it, so we're going to donate it. Oh. And what a beautiful way to stimulate, families in need. So that's been really cool. And again, I know you guys understand this, that cancer sucks so bad. Being part of this community is not anything any of us wanted to be a part of, but there's so much beauty in our family stories, and there's so many people that come out of the woodwork. I mean, I hate that quote that says strangers become family and family becomes strangers, but sometimes that's so true. And I would love for family to stay family and strangers to become family and just grow your family. But there's so many amazing stories of people who really just, I watched your one with Whip, and stories like that. Like, when I see a young girl who wants to make a huge difference and an impact, that's when you're like, what? what God meant to destroy us, he's making it turn better, because look at this, like cancer is meant to come and destroy our world, destroy our families. And there's so much beauty that comes from it. And I don't know, it's really humbling when you can look back and just see people who played such a huge role and inspired you. Or, you know, I look at all the people, I can look back and see all these silver linings and like how God prepared our heart for certain situations, and just like, okay, that's what you were doing with that. Like, I don't know, I just feel like it's so, and I hope everyone finds that in this time right now.
And we were talking about how we lost a lot of time being in the hospital a lot. And so we were just praying about how God is almost giving us that time back. Like, I know how funny that sounds, but
no,
back at work, I mean, we get to be with the kids all day, and normally they're supposed to be at school. And so we do try to find the joy in it, because we lost a lot of time as a family that we never thought we'd get back.
Absolutely. And you're getting it back. Absolutely. We're getting it back. And cancer brings that unwanted gift of perspective where you're like, okay, you know what? This is really, you can dwell in this. I think that's the only advice I ever give families. I tried really hard not to be too like, oh, this, that, and the other, is kind of, okay, you're okay to be mad. Just don't stay there for too long. Always every day you can find something to be thankful for, whether you woke up today and that's what your one thing is, or that you got to meet awesome people. I mean, my Facebook is filled with people like you guys, where I'm like, oh my gosh, look what they're doing. Like, look how amazing, how many people are touching. Look at who's seeing God that might not have ever seen God. Look who gets to hear about, you know, a great story, and not necessarily one that didn't end with a family together. Like, there's just so many stories of hope that I feel like if you can surround yourself with those, I feel like we're just going to be in a better place.
Well, we're so thankful for you, and you guys gave us so much hope. You blessed us. It's hard to even put into words. When that first Christmas, you know, when I came there, and you know, you had that.
I remember it really well. Yeah.
They had this huge, I don't even know what it was. Yeah, it was a store where we could go Christmas shopping. I mean, that meant so much.
I mean, we were impatient, so we didn't even know if we were going to be out of the hospital. Like, and
you were like, yeah, come on. You can
I
go
remember
shopping.
Dr. Pinto like came in and saved us, and we got out, and we had like 2 days, and we're like, what the heck? We can't even really go shopping. And then you called and said, come to our store, and like saved our whole entire Christmas.
It was amazing. So
it wasn't me. That is just that story. The Christmas thing is my favorite thing to do at Christmas, because truly that is what it's all about. And I have so many, the toy drive is my pride and joy. It's our Footprints of Fights community service thing. And it's beautiful.
Now, you guys were amazing. I was like, I had one or two things, and you were like, no.
I know.
Put all that in your
things in a. Well, and the beautiful thing about it is we were stuck in the hospital, and like, not let alone our family, but like we still had my nephew and my nieces and everybody else to shop for, and you're like, oh no, get this for them. And that was mind-blowing, because like when you're in that, you don't really think about it until you're about to go shopping. You're like, oh my gosh, my list is like this long. I don't even have time to do that. Well,
and people are blessing you. You want to be able to give to them during that time. And it's like, that's what the toy drive to us is all about. It's like people are taking care of you, and it's your turn to be able to like think about somebody else. And that's our favorite.
Beautiful.
Oh, that's your phone. Oh, that's your phone. Oh, that's my phone. Mm-hmm. Here, let me just turn it off. Well, you guys have been such a huge blessing to us, and really huge inspiration. Like there are a few people. I mean, really, I could count them on like 3 fingers of who inspired us to want to give back and eventually start a nonprofit. And that's definitely been one of you guys.
Well, thank you.
So
we're here for you when you're ready. We're here to give you our hiccups so you don't have to go through them.
I would still like to fundraise and do that climb. I don't know about the big climb. Okay, maybe the small.
I'll hit you up for the mirror climb. I get wrangled
in the mirror climb.
It's the mirror climb's fun, and it's just a fun time to be. You guys have been to Rainier, haven't you?
Yeah.
Up there? Yeah. See, awesome. I've never really been up there, and it's like we live here, we don't get to go up, and it's like it is like you're in a different world, and it's like you don't have cell phones at work, and you really just feel like, oh my goodness, like just a different feeling.
The first time I brought you here, The trees. He's from Texas, and so
Oh,
we
so
lived
you
in
like
LA.
that
And he used
mountain.
to call the mountains like or the hills mountains, and I was like,
Those
no.
are not
Have you ever
mountains.
seen Mount Rainier? And I remember the first time, like you were.
I was like a little kid.
No, and he was like, you got to take me there, and we went there.
I'm gonna start peppering you with pictures, Jay. I'm like, you need to go. You need to go. It's calling.
I think our toughest climb was Rachel Lake.
Rachel Lake was pretty tough. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I need to train with your husband. I saw that dunk the other day.
Living up his glory days.
Well, thank you so much for
You guys.
being a part of this. Real quick, for anybody that wants to find you guys, what's your web address?
My web address is www.footprintsoffight.org. And then we're on Facebook and Instagram, and we have an app in the App Store. So lots of ways to connect.
Such an amazing cause, amazing people. We love you guys so much. And
Love you guys so
chat
much.
again
Thank you.
soon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.
All right, we love Briana Nettleton and Footprints of Fight, don't we? I mean,
sure
their
do.
whole team, their whole staff of volunteers.
So thankful for them.
Truly amazing. We owe a lot to them. I mean, they helped us out so much during our daughter's treatment. So this was a special interview for us, right?
Definitely.
So thanks for continuing to tune in to On Mission. It's a lot of fun. It's actually healing in a lot of ways, isn't it?
It definitely is.
So such crazy times, you know, it's good to have some sort of creative outlet, at least for us, right? So continue to tune in, please. We're gonna continue to, I say continue a lot, don't I? We're gonna continue these episodes. OnMission.tv, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.